Mexico, more secrets have been revealed.
The whole American continent, it was the most powerful civilization.
History is full of lost civilizations that have seemingly up and vanished, like the Indus Valley Civilization, the Khmer Empire, Easter Island, and Teotihuacan.
Once part of a thriving metropolis, now the only people who come here are visitors.
In America were the Teotihuacans, in Europe were the Romans. They are contemporary with the Romans.
As many as 200,000 people may have lived and died here.
One of history's most baffling enigmas.
This is Teotihuacan in Mexico.
The place where men become gods.
One of the greatest mysteries of all time is what happened to the Teotihuacan people here in Mexico City. They built some of the largest pyramids on Earth and were one of the largest civilizations of early Americas. Yet we know nothing about them. We don't know what language they spoke, how they built their magnificent structures, what religion they followed, who ruled this place, and what they even called themselves. Because they suddenly disappeared and no one knows what became of them. And that's just one of several mysteries here at Teotihuacan. Teotihuacan people were the first civilization of the early Americas. It was most likely founded in the 1st century CE. But this massive city really started to flourish about 100 years later in the 2nd century CE, where it became home to more than 250,000 people, making it the largest civilization in all of the Americas. And Teotihuacan wasn't just a large civilization, it was also a highly advanced civilization, on par with ancient Rome.
In America were the Teotihuacans, in Europe were the Romans. But the difference is, in Rome, they have horses, they have donkeys, they have cows, elephants, means or mode of transportation. In America, we don't have horses, we don't have donkeys, we don't have cows. So that in technology is a lot. This is Europe, this is America. Europe is in the Middle Age, America is just in the Stone Age. Same time, different period of development.
And part of that was because of the geography. Now, if you look at the landscape now, it's more dry and akin to a desert. But back then, during the time of Teotihuacan, this entire place was lush and the hills were verdant green. It was said to be an abundant place to live. For that reason, Teotihuacan was a healthy mix of both locals and migrants from neighboring areas like the Mayans, who would congregate here for governmental practices. In fact, on that note, many people don't realize this, but nobody lived here at Teotihuacan. This was all purely for administrative and governmental purposes. Residents lived just outside of Teotihuacan in either wooden huts or in underground cave systems. Archaeologists wanted to know more about who were the Teotihuacan people, and as luck would have it, there are many skeletons that are found all over Mexico City. So what they did is a skeletal analysis, and the way that they did this was by testing their tooth enamel.
The drinking water that you take up as a child and then gets incorporated into your enamel has different isotopic signatures depending on where you were geographically and climate-wise. And what you do is you test the enamel of the teeth and you test the bone and see if they're the same.
When the archaeologists completed their skeletal analysis, they found the skeletons did not grow up in Teotihuacan, but somewhere else entirely. In fact, that was the case for many of the skeletons they analyzed, which confirms that many of the people that lived in Teotihuacan were migrants. But something happened because almost 750 years after this entire city was built, it was completely abandoned as is. Just like that, 250,000 people just up and vanished, leaving behind their artifacts and valuables, but taking their secrets with them. Even after a century of modern excavation, there's still so much archaeologists don't know about Teotihuacan. For starters, we don't even know what they call themselves. Teotihuacan is the name that the Mexicas or the Aztecs gave this area when they stumbled upon it in the 1300s. When they found this area with its colossal pyramids, its gridded streets, and beautiful detailed carvings completely abandoned, they were shocked. But for that reason and many more, the Mexicas thought this land was a celestial city built by the gods, hence the name Teotihuacan, which means where man becomes God. And it gets even more curious. Take a look. Those are seashells. The reason why this is so curious is because the only mode of transportation at that time was to travel on foot. This was before horses were introduced to the Americas. So the nearest ocean was a 1 month, sometimes a 1.5 months journey on foot. Yet, seashells and depictions of marine life are featured all over Teotihuacan.
Why? You have to imagine you are at Teotihuacan. If I tell you, let's go to the ocean, it's a beautiful place, you're going to receive the presents from the gods. That is tempting. And the presents are seashells and conches, which were considered very valuable for the Teotihuacans. And also, they are associated with the ceremonies they have of the underworld.
And it's about to get even crazier. Let's go. In 2003, archaeologist Sergio Gomez came into work one day and saw a massive 3-foot sinkhole right over there. And this sinkhole led to a massive underground tunnel that was 330 feet long and led right up to the Plumed Serpent Pyramid. The locals heard rumors that whatever was down there was dangerous, meaning if you went down there and you touched your eyes, nose, or mouth, that you would get poisoned. Gomez took the risk anyways, and he went down. He didn't get poisoned, but he did realize that whatever was down there was meant to stay hidden. Why do you ask that? It's because he found 23 walls blocking entry to the entrance of the underground tunnel. There's another underground tunnel beneath the Sun Pyramid, but that was looted long before any excavation started. But this new underground tunnel that goes underneath the Plumed Serpent Pyramid has been untouched for nearly 2,000 years. The last people to enter and seal that tunnel are the Teotihuacans. Naturally, everyone was keen to see what was inside, but there was one problem. Those 23 walls blocking the entrance to the underground tunnel. So what they did is they used a 3D laser scanning to map out what lay beyond. And that's how they figured out that the end of the tunnel sits right beneath the Plumed Serpent Pyramid. That's not even the wildest part. The Plumed Serpent Pyramid is at the very geographic center of all of Teotihuacan. So to have the tunnel directly beneath it implies that it was very important to them. So the next question was, what was inside? After breaking down the 23 walls, they saw a shaft that went down 10 floors, and they saw the tunnel go 330 feet long. They found jewels and artifacts.
Seashells and conches, pieces of jewelry made with jade. Also they found pieces of obsidian, they found some ceramics. They found wood. It's very difficult to find wood because wood is a pedestrian material. They found pieces of wood.
At the apex, the axis mundi, they found 4 statues facing the cardinal directions. 3 of them were female and 1 of them was male, and all of them were looking up at the very center of the Plumed Serpent Pyramid. The inside of the tunnel was covered in pyrite, a precious metal that glitters like the night sky. They also found a codex, which is like a book, which is incredibly exciting because we don't know what language the Teotihuacan spoke. Unfortunately, because the codex was underground for 2,000 years, it's not legible at this time. One of the most enduring mysteries here at Teotihuacan is who ruled this vast civilization. Some historians believe it was just one ruler, while others believe it was a group of wealthy families. Well, we just don't know because there hasn't been any evidence. But Sergio Gomez is hoping, given the significance of the underground tunnel, that it could house a tomb. Unfortunately, no tomb was discovered in the underground tunnel. Or so I thought. That was when I spoke to Jane, and she told me something that she didn't tell me last time. Jane told me that the Teotihuacans were actively using this underground tunnel for about 150 years. Then, some years later, another group of Teotihuacans reopened the tunnel for whatever reason. They broke through all 23 walls and they took something out. After which, they resealed and closed the tunnel again, and it wasn't rediscovered until 2003 with Sergio Gomez and his team. And here's where it gets even more wild. When Sergio Gomez and his team first entered the underground tunnel, they found markings on the floor that were made 2,000 years ago, indicating that something very heavy was taken out. Gomez strongly believes that whatever this object was is a tomb. And the reason he thinks this is because of China. I know, but stick with me here. First emperor in China had a tomb dedicated to him that was strikingly similar to the underground tunnel here in Teotihuacan. It also had mercury pools, engravings and depictions of valleys, rivers, and lakes, and similar artifacts that were also found in the underground tunnel. It certainly is compelling. If there actually was a tomb in this underground tunnel, it opens up so many other questions about the people here at Teotihuacan. But the most important one is, what was so important that those Teotihuacan people reopened the tunnel, broke down through all 23 walls just to retrieve an object? What was so important about this object that they were willing to go through all of that? Whatever this object was either incredibly precious or decidedly evil. And it may have something to do around the mysterious disappearance of the Teotihuacan people, of which there are many theories. Historians believe they didn't just disappear, they abandoned the area likely due to a natural disaster like a drought, famine, maybe a political uprising. And this brings us back to the final hypothesis of what happened 2,000 years ago to cause the Teotihuacans to go through so much work to reopen the tunnel and take this object out. The hypothesis is that the Teotihuacans were chased out of the city or prosecuted. So when they went elsewhere, they never told anyone who they were, which is why you don't see their culture in any other place, hiding in plain sight, so to speak. What is certain is that it was sudden and not planned. Everything was left as is. Cookery, pottery, jewelry, etc. Something caused the Teotihuacan people to get up as a collective and walk away. As an ending note, Teotihuacan is one of the greatest sites of history that we have, and there's still so much for us to learn. I would love it if more people came and visited Teotihuacan. Lastly, the Mexican government cut 75% of the budget for archaeological sites. 2 years ago now, the mayor of Teotihuacan decided to construct an amusement park, and he decided to destroy one of the 3 remaining pyramids to create this park. After that, Jane Kadala called the authorities through her foundation. The authorities, UNESCO, and the president stepped in to help. Jane has a foundation where you can also donate. All funds go directly to protecting Teotihuacan and funding more archaeological investigations. I'll put the link to that in the description below. Thanks for watching.